What is going on, everybody? My name is Jack O'Neill. Welcome to the first ever edition of Inside the Octagon. This is a new podcast concept that I've come up with to add to JO6 Media. Today is a big day. We are one day out. I'm recording this at 1 p.m. exactly on Saturday. We are 23 hours away from SRL Fight Night number 1. Words can't really describe how excited I am for this, to be honest, guys. Put so much effort into getting these fights done, getting these fights in. There was some times where I thought I didn't think people would get into it, but just the response from all the boys in the SRL, all the fans, it really does mean the world to me, guys. Everybody getting around this concept. So, of course, before we get into the analysis, before we get into getting into these fights, I do need to say some special thanks. I want to thank, first of all, the commission. SRL Commish, what he does for our community, getting this community together. It can never truly be described just how hardworking he is and how thankful I think everybody in this community is for what he's done for us. So what he's done for me, for getting Fight Night ready, for first of all just letting me do it, giving me everything I needed to get this concept up and running and getting everybody involved. And I think it adds to the league everything that everybody's doing, for that matter, content-wise, with the Fight Night, with SRL 180, behind the SRL, Lachlan Martin's podcast, all these things. I've got to thank him for that. I've also got to thank my two graphic creators for this. Chaz Dingo, we're official partners now. He's done almost all the graphics. He did all the promotion, the thumbnails, so many graphics for me. I appreciate Chaz and everything he's done for me. And also Jason Farrow, as I said, he's done some of the graphics for me in the event. I have to thank him a lot. He got a lot done for me when, Chaz was unavailable. So for that, I have to thank Jason as well. Obviously, again, the SRL 180 boys, they're going to have me on tonight. They've been so great with the promotion. All of them want to get involved. Some of them are involved. Liam Ryan's obviously a big one. I love those boys. They're so good. They're so good at what they do. So I have to thank them a lot as well. And finally, the fans, the people in the community who are getting around this concept, I have to thank you guys. You've brought so much interest into this concept, and you guys all want to get involved, and I really appreciate that. So we get into my thoughts on this event in general, and I'm just so happy with how it's gone. I've got fights on fights to make. There's so many rivalries that just need to be hashed out. There's no better way to earn your respect back by somebody than getting in a brawl with them. Let's be real. So, all the boys, I want to get everyone involved as much as I can. I have so many ways I want to do that because realistically, the SRL Fight Nights, they're for the best of the best in the combat sports realm of the SRL. But I'm not going to forget about the guys that are trying to become those fighters who are trying to get up in the division that they are in due to their weight and fight for those titles against those elite fighters, which is why I am going to be launching the SRL Fight Night Contender Series. I'm really excited for this. It's for the people who are low on confidence, who are not getting as many wins as they would like in the big show. It's all for debutantes. It's for it's with limited crowds, limited commentary, but it's just an easy way to get in there, get out, get some experience, improve your MMA record. The next thing I want to talk about and share my thoughts on is the middleweight division, because I'm getting a lot of questions about the middleweight division. How's it going to work? Who will be contending for it? That's the big one. We will have two champions after Sunday. Collins and Bell and Malchus and Nanai, they're fighting for the lightweight championship and the heavyweight championship, but it's that middleweight belt that I think everybody's a little bit curious about. So Pete Veretto, he's the only middleweight that's actually in the SRL Fight Night series, and if he wins against Cameron Reynolds, I don't think I can not give him that belt. I think he would have earned the right to be considered the middleweight champion. But the good thing about this middleweight division is there's some absolute guns who can get in there and challenge Veretto if he does beat Cameron Reynolds. You've got your Rahal Kavals, I hope I said that right, sorry brother, and also your Lachlan Martins, your Joshua Blackburns, David Barner if he wants to get in the ring. There are so many exciting fighters to watch. But let's just say Veretto doesn't beat Reynolds. What happens then? Well, I don't think Pete Veretto can then get straight into middleweight title contention. The same as Bell and Collins loser and the Nanai and Malchus loser. They need to go and fight the next best in the division to earn their shot back at those champions. So Veretto will have to do the same thing. So that's when your Caval and your Martins come in. Two of the biggest middleweight names in our sport, in our code, in our community. They are what can come in, and they are two fighters that could come in and challenge for that belt and contest for that championship. I can definitely see them stepping up and taking that opportunity. So that's a fight that I think will be made at some stage, Cavallo and Martin. So that's how I think the middleweight division is shaping up right now. I think all the divisions are shaping up really well. The heavyweight division, we've got big boppers on big boppers looking to scrap, and it's always entertaining watching heavyweights go at it. And the lightweights, there's so many lightweights in our community. You know, you've got your Damian Moanas and your Sonny Tyres who are fighting, who, want that next shot at that belt. Also your Liam Ryans and your Charlie Butlers. And don't forget Huey Smith and Jacob Morrison either, honestly. Those two guys, they're training just as hard as everyone else. Even though they're rookies, they've earned their shot if they beat their opponent on Sunday. Righto, so that's my rambling done. Now we need to get into analysis. That's what you're all here for. You want to get my insight. I have watched just about every fighter on this card in a lot of their training. I've seen the styles that they're implementing, and I must say I'm pretty excited with the finished product we're going to get, because they're all training extremely hard. I want to get in the rookie bout first. Huey Smith versus Jacob Morrison. Huey Smith is the $1.80 favourite. Jacob Morrison, the $2.20 underdog. So pretty short odds. They're both very, very tight betting, because we don't know who's going to win between these two. Huey Smith has just got that small advantage because he's got that reach advantage and height advantage, which might come to play in because he is a lot taller than Morrison. He's been training with Zoo Boxing Club a lot, and he's been doing a lot of grappling and boxing, so you've really got to watch out for his boxing combinations. However, I want to chat about Jacob Morrison as well. What's exciting me is that he is training in Canberra and he's doing kickboxing, full kickboxing. He is trying to learn every aspect of the sport, and he's decided to go straight into kickboxing. So I'm feeling like his strikes might be a bit more diverse to that of Huey Smith, which might give him a bit of an advantage. But no matter how good your striking is, if you can't get in there and you can't pressure that fighter that has that reach advantage, you're not going to get far. And Huey Smith has got a real clear game plan. Just keep Jacob Morrison at range with that jab, with that cross, with your roundhouse kicks, front kicks, whatever you have to do to keep Jacob Morrison away from you, and just keep scoring. Outland him. That's the best way to do it, and tire him out. But Jacob Morrison will be chopping at the body all night. That's his game plan. He needs to be on the inside, swinging a bit wildly. Fighting someone who's taller than you can't always be technically perfect. So he's just got to get in there, and he's just got to scrap with Smith, make it a fight. So with that being said, I can't go past my boy Morrison, and that's nothing against Huey Smith. I really, really like Huey. I think he's a great kid, and I could definitely see him going a long way in the sport. But I think Morrison wins by round 3 knockout. I think that he's going to implement this game plan. I think his kickboxing is definitely going to help make his striking more diverse, and I think he'll finish him in the third. Sonny Tyre and Damian Moana's up next. Sonny Tyre is the $1.50 favourite. Damian Moana is the outsider at $2.80. I honestly, this is one of those fights that could go either way. Damian Moana, he's a lot more well-rounded to Tyre. Tyre's really focused on boxing, but we've all watched Sonny in the SRL. We know how explosive he is. He's strong, he's fast, he's athletic, he's got great footwork. So I honestly think he's going to give it to Damian Moana. Damian Moana, he's expressed that this will most likely be his one-and-done fight, which fair play to him. He's a great footy player, and he's got to focus on the Cowboys. He doesn't need to focus on fighting. So I think that Sonny is out there to try and win belts, and I think that motivation he's really going to want to put on a statement against Moana. There's so many good lightweights in this division, and he wants the next shot at the title or at the loser to then get a shot at the title, if that makes sense. So I think that he's going to put on an absolute clinic. He'll knock Damian Moana out inside 2 rounds. The next fight, Cameron Reynolds versus Pete Veretto. Reynolds is the $1.30 favourite, Veretto $2.60 outsider. So this fight, I'm a bit concerned for Veretto. And the reason for that is simply because he's moved up a weight division. He's a middleweight, and he's fighting a heavyweight. Reynolds, we all know how good Reynolds is. They have found a catch weight sort of in that middle range between middleweight and heavyweight, but it still definitely does suit Reynolds and his style. Veretto, he's a wrestler. He's going to try and drag Reynolds around. He's going to try and tire him out with his wrestling, keeping him in the clinch, driving him towards the ground. But Cameron Reynolds, he's got the reach advantage, he's got the height advantage, and his power is unbelievable. He's training boxing with Justice Hooney, and I think that's a big, big step for him. Justice, he is a big man, but he's fast, he's silky, and I think he's really going to get Cameron Reynolds these skills as well. He's going to teach him, what these skills and what he needs to do to beat somebody like Pete Veretto. So I've just dropped my notepad. That is pretty good stuff, guys. So I think that he's going to beat. With all that being said, it's such a tight fight, and I need to tip some underdogs here, guys. I'm tipping Pete Veretto round 3 submission. The next fight, Liam Ryan takes on Charlie Butler. They're very, very close odds. $1.80 to $1.90. Liam Ryan is the small favourite. He has been training with some elite jiu-jitsu and grappling fighters, Liam has. He's really dangerous chokes and armbars from any position. I've been watching him on the mat, and he can choke you out from anywhere. So I'm really, really excited to see what he can do against Charlie, who's really focused on boxing, but also kickboxing. He's been working with Alexander Volkanovski a little bit, also the Zoo boxing with Huey Smith. He's accurate, his roundhousing, and his jabbing is really strong. With all that being said, though, I think that if Liam Ryan can not just focus on jiu-jitsu and wrestling, and what I mean by that is he needs to strike. If he can wear him down with his striking, pick his moments to try and drag Butler down to the mat, down to the canvas, I think he'll win this fight well. I think he'll win by round 3 submission. I think it's going to be a really good fight, this one. Now we get into the championship bouts. These ones are 5 rounds compared to 3 rounds for the previous 4 fights. Jai Collins versus Corey Bell, the lightweight champion. These boys, they don't get on, and I friggin' am so excited for this fight. Collins is a $1.70 favourite. Corey Bell's $2.10. So it's a pretty even odds as well. I think Jai's been working a lot on his wrestling and also his unorthodox choking. So he's been doing a lot of jiu-jitsu with a private gym in Redfern with Liam Ryan. So his guillotines, all those type of things, I could definitely see just all of a sudden he'll drag Corey down to the mat and try and choke him out. These two guys, they've been at each other for so long. I wonder how that animosity will change things. But like I said about Liam Ryan, Jai Collins, he needs to try and strike with Bell. Bell has been training kickboxing and also doing a bit of boxing with George Kambosos, the new lightweight champion in boxing. So it's very, very important that Collins can throw and that he can pressure Corey Bell with his striking and then look to put him to the ground or maybe even knock him out. Corey Bell, meanwhile, like I said, traditional kickboxer. This is his chance to prove to the whole SRL that he deserves a club. And honestly, I think that Corey, he's in a really good position as a kickboxer. He's got a wide variety of kicks that can help break down Collins. This fight, it's going to be an absolute blockbuster. Overall, however, I do see Jai Collins coming away with the win, simply because he's more experienced in this sort of arena, in the big stage, whereas Corey Bell, not so much. And I just think that all this pressure, I think it's going to add up on Corey Bell. I think that Jai Collins wins by round 4 submission. I think it's going to be another tough fight. $1.60 favourite, Luke Malkus. John Nano is a $1.75 underdog. But you know what? This is just going to be such a good fight. They're completely different, and I love that. They're training the same, but their styles and how they play is completely different. Malkus, tall, strong, very large reach, one punch KO power. However, his speed is lacking a little bit compared to Nanai, who's also tough as nails, but he's very, very agile as well. He's got that power, though. This is going to be just such a good fight to see. Honestly, I don't know who's going to win. Malkus has got that reach and height advantage, as I said, but John Nanai, he's silky, man. He's fast. I think that he'll be able to get on the inside. If he can get on the inside, slip that jab, push in some crosses, some hooks, some rips into the gut, into the body, and break down Luke Malkus, it could be John Nanai's night to lift a belt. This has just got one of those fights that you've just got to watch to find out, because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know which one of them are going to implement the right game plan, which one of them can stick to the game plan or change the game plan in an effective manner. Who's going to come out with more adrenaline and dump it all and gas by the 3rd round. So this is a 5-round fight. I don't think it's going to go the 5 rounds. I think John Nanai, round 4 TKO. I don't think it'll be a knockout. I don't think you can knock out Luke Malkus, if I'm honest. I think that he'll just be too silky. He'll just keep on pushing and pushing and pushing Malkus, landing good shots, but in the end, the referee will have to stop the fight because Malkus will have sustained too much damage. Because I don't see Luke Malkus getting dropped at all, but I don't see John Nanai losing this fight, if I'm honest. So that's my analysis, guys. I really want to know what you guys think of this concept, about my commentary, about my insight to everything to do with the SRL, whether it's fight night or if it's just the SRL in general. So make sure you let me know in the comments or in the Discord. Make sure you join the Discord if you haven't already. Get involved. It's such a good community. We're less than 24 hours away from one of the biggest independent SRL events ever. I don't think there's ever been an event like this not run completely by the commission, and I'm so honoured that I get to be the person to share this with you, share these amazing fights. And to the fighters, I want to say best of luck to you boys. Full respect to you for getting in the ring with your opponent. It takes such a big man to get in the ring, and may the best men win. I think that all of you should leave with your heads held high no matter how you perform, because you got in that ring. It's going to be a bloodbath, guys. It's going to be so entertaining. Make sure you're here on the JO6 Media channel live from 12 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time for one of the biggest SRL events we've ever seen. Thank you guys so much for listening, and peace.